Hi everyone, and welcome to Wheel Chat. This is our first episode with me.
I'm Justin Boulos, guys. Very excited to be here on our first episode.
I'm Anthony Mitchell. Basically, Justin, let's just tell everyone about both of us. I'm from Leeds. We're based in the UK.
And I'm from Sydney, Australia. I recently got married to my beautiful Emma, who's sitting there in the background. We come to visit her family, and we thought, while we're in England, might as well come see my boy.
Yeah.
And then you want to do a podcast. I think the main goals of this podcast is that we want to share some stories about what we do throughout the week. It's pretty memorable stories that help us learn about wheelchairs and seating.
Yeah.
Give some inside advice about what we're doing with our opinions on certain products or the way things are done.
I think I want to talk about emotion quite a bit. I want to talk about understanding the client. The person in the chair is the most important, but we can get bogged down in the technical side. Ultimately, if that person ain't happy, then we're kind of not fully achieved our goal.
I want to get with this podcast. I just want to have a few more shared experiences. I'm actually really excited about getting people on the podcast and getting guest speakers and learning more about how people do things, how it's done differently, what products do they use and why.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Wheel Chat. This is our first episode with me. I'm Anthony Mitchell. This is Justin Boulos.
And I'm Justin Boulos, guys. Very excited to be here on our first episode.
Unbelievable. So, Justin, welcome to Leeds.
Thank you. It's a beautifully rainy day here.
Absolute pleasure to have you. Basically, Justin, let's just tell everyone about both of us. I'm from Leeds. We're based in the UK. So, for our Australian viewers or listeners.
Yes, Leeds in the UK. And I'm from Sydney, Australia. And I've flown all the way out here for this podcast.
Nah, tell the truth. Tell us the nice part.
Well, I recently got married to my beautiful Emma, who's sitting there in the background. And then we're going to go see. So she's from England. So we come to visit her family. And we thought, while we're in England, might as well come see my boy.
Yeah.
And then you want to do a podcast. I thought, how fun would it be to film the first few episodes live with all this beautiful studio lighting?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's great to have you here. Amazing. From our side, we've just been friends now for over a year. You've been doing some really cool stuff. LinkedIn, social media. We kind of reached out to each other, didn't we?
I don't know how it all started. We just I don't know, you reached out to me. But
I think I was on holiday and we were on the same time zone because we've been sort of texting a little bit. And then all of a sudden we could actually have a conversation because we were both up. And it kind of just ran from there, wasn't it?
It was actually the first time we've met in the flesh. It's always funny when you have online friendship.
Yeah.
Or I'll go to an expo or something and I've never actually met the person, but you have such a strong relationship with the person. Just through voice messages.
Yeah, correct.
And now we actually get to see each other in the flesh.
No, it's amazing. It's really nice. And we had a really nice night last night.
Yes.
We hung out.
Yeah.
My wife, Chloe, Emma, we all went out. It was really nice.
Yeah.
Really lovely.
It's beautiful town.
So, but great to have you here. I wanted to use episode 1 to introduce us both, but I think it'd be really cool to interview you.
Yes, please.
Find out a little bit more about
center of attention then.
Yeah, I know. So we're just going to need to keep calm on that one, right? But putting the makeup on today was just a little extreme. It's working.
It's working. Hopefully the camera's getting me beautifully.
Yeah. But for everyone who's listening, Justin is a very good-looking Australian lad who is really making his way. Joking aside, you're really making your way in the industry, aren't you? You're extremely popular. You've just been to ReaCare.
Yes.
How was that?
Yeah, that was beautiful. Again, another amazing aspect of my super supportive wife. The first leg of our honeymoon was to ReaCare because we got married and then it was an expo that I've always wanted to go to. And it was literally the 2 days after our wedding. And we're already going to the UK. If we detour to here, is that cool? And she was like, yeah, let's do it.
And how was it?
Yeah, it was awesome. It's so big. It's so we have expos and it was one hall is what we would have in there. And they had 7 halls. It was just warehouse after warehouse of all these new products. And then it was almost a bit overwhelming the first day. I was like, there's not really that much exciting stuff here. But then, it's a 4-day event. So by the end of the 4 days, I had so many cool new products that I saw, so many new ideas and innovations that are coming out.
Yeah.
Which is exciting to see because I think it's actually, the industry feels like it's a bit dead in a sense. How much has a manual wheelchair changed from when you first started to what it is now?
Yeah.
Different material.
No, it's not.
And it's all the same stuff, right? All the, even with your power assist, they're all still much the same, power chairs, there's differences, but it's not like this this is amazing technology, especially I feel in a folding chair. I don't know which Like we use like a Quickie 2 is a really common folding chair that we use. And I still, when I do a trial, I'm like, you pick it up and you're like, got to get it into the back of the car. And it's still not like, for the cost of what these custom chairs are, you'd expect it to be like a feather, and you pick it up,
It should be driving itself. It should be folding itself, right?
Should be driving itself.
Yeah.
Everything should be super lightweight
Yeah.
for these price tags, but just not there. But there's definitely stuff coming in.
You saw stuff coming out that's like, that's delivering on that promise.
Yeah. By the time this podcast comes out, hopefully a lot of the videos should be out. I think I filmed about 10 videos of like products that I thought were really cool. There's so many products, but the ones I thought would be worth actually chatting about, I've made videos on. So
I can't wait to see that.
Yeah.
What, in terms of innovation, did you see any innovation out there? Because that's really my passion at the moment.
Yeah.
In terms of like in the world of AI, in the world of everything that we're kind of working with online, offline, it just seems that within our industry, we are catching up. It does seem to be getting there. So like there's some cool stuff out there. Whether or not the wheelchairs will actually be good for the end user, I'm not really sure. Time will tell on that one. But I think even like, did you see a lot of cool stuff on the programming side?
No, programming, nothing too new with like
that killed that.
I guess that software wise, it's all, a power chair, they just pretty much go.
Yeah.
Where I think is the most excitement is weight. And so two things that I saw that were really cool was the Phoenix wheelchair. I don't know if you've seen that. It's like a carbon fiber wheelchair where.
And who's bringing that out?
Phoenix Instinct is a wheelchair user.
Great.
From Scotland.
Yeah.
From your neck of the woods.
Yeah.
Andrew. So it's a carbon fiber chair, but it's so unique. Is that
with the power casters?
Yeah, powered casters.
Yeah.
So usually you've got like rear attachments, like your smart drive, your front
Yeah.
attachment, like your Baytex.
Yeah.
Push rim, like your eMotion, or like your joystick, like your iExpress and eFix. But this is like a new category where it's built into the chair. So you can't retrofit it, which sucks because some people want to have a certain chair, but it has to be in their chair because it's the way it's designed. But it's got these powered front casters. So when you go over obstacles, the front casters are pulling you over, kind of like a front wheel drive on a power chair.
Yeah.
It pulls you over obstacles. So even though they're small motors, which is good because it keeps it lightweight, it still performs really well. It's got downhill braking, like, a smart drive goes uphill, it doesn't help you downhill.
Right, so it's intuitive.
Yeah, it's like, once you do like a cruise control, it will hold you. You can even like actually hit the brakes. Like I had it when I was pushing it, it matches your push, and then I want to stop, I hit the button, and it's like, and it just stops.
Like a smooth. Oh, I see what you're saying.
It actually stops the chair.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was really cool. And it's so lightweight. I can pick it up with one hand, with the
Okay.
battery, with the motors in it, like whole chair all together. There you go. So that's really cool. I haven't seen the script form or what you can do with aftermarket seating and how scriptable it is, but as a concept.
Well, maybe Andrew will get in touch, let us know.
Yeah. The video will come out soon.
Okay.
It'll already be out by now. But the other one that hasn't been released yet, which is really cool, was this joystick power assist, which there's only really two types of joystick power assist. The ones that have like the motors are in the hub of the wheels.
So what, like an eFix?
eFix, iExpress, those ones, or like the light drive or the Toto drive, which is like they clamp onto the tire.
That's right.
Tire,
Yeah.
Which they're good, they're light, but their performance isn't great. They can make the chair tippy. They wear out the tires because it's like you're just rubbing on the tires.
That's right.
Time. But this is a whole new design where this guy, he's made like this camber bar. It's like a powered camber bar. So you replace the camber bar with this, it's like a thicker camber bar, picture that. And it powers the wheels. And the battery.
Oh, so it's not even an attachment on the back, which like what traditionally you see.
So you don't get any more tippiness. You get direct power to the wheels because the camber bar is the motor.
No, that's clever.
And it's powered by a drill battery. I think it was like a Hilti battery. So if you run out of battery, you can just go to the warehouse, whatever you guys have here, your warehouse store, grab a new battery, boom, and away you go. So it's super lightweight. The camber bar actually it's quick release as well. So picture like a Tala ZRA. You replace the camber bar with this thing. It's not even that heavy, and if you can still pick it up as you would like a regular rigid chair. But if it's still too heavy, you can take off the camber bar.
And is that coming to market soon?
They said sometime early next year. So I'm hoping I'm hoping where I work is they're gonna take it on. I don't know.
Do you remember where the product was from? Like what country?
US.
US. Okay.
US. I'll find out. Maybe we can put a link in the description, the Instagram page. But he reckons, I thought, anything lightweight doesn't perform well. It just can't. But he reckons it outperforms everything. So
okay, well, we'll see. Watch this space.
We'll see. So there is innovation and stuff coming out. There's a bunch of other stuff you can see in the video. So
all right, well, that's cool. Thank you. I'll tell you what that's actually just made me remember when I was looking through prepping for today. In is I think we should really understand if there's any sort of confusion in language between Australia and the UK. So let's just get this out on the door, because this is something that we're going to have people from Australia, people from the UK listening, hopefully people from all over the world, really, which is cool. Because we've both got followers from all over. Let's just put it out there. And if anyone from any other country wants to send us a note and help us on this one, that would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah.
But, okay, so when we call it like mobility products, I know that isn't so foreign for you guys to hear that, but you would call it something a little bit different in the main.
Yeah, so we have two categories. We have off the shelf and configured. Sometimes we call it custom, custom wheelchairs, configured wheelchairs.
Yeah.
Prescription wheelchairs, not really used, but
we call it a prescription wheelchair.
Yeah, we don't really use prescription wheelchairs. I think in America they have like DME and CRT. Do you know what they are? Durable medical equipment.
Okay.
Complex rehab technology. They have like those categories.
Okay.
I'm not super familiar with what that means, so sorry to the US people out there listening. But yeah, ours is pretty simple. Off the shelf, which is anything you can buy without a therapist involved.
Box product, we call that.
Box products. Yeah, in a warehouse, mass produced.
Yeah. Which, to be fair, nothing wrong with them. It's just not what we do.
It's not, it's definitely not. So I work for a company, like I work for independent living specialists, and we have a bunch of different divisions that handle different areas. I work for the areas called ILS Rehab, and all we do is configured mobility. Yeah. So anything that requires a script form that is made for a particular client, that's what we do. Yeah. So that's our two main categories. Is that the same thing for you guys?
Yeah. I mean, we would say bespoke, made to measure. Those are the sort of terms that we would use. Yeah. Or prescriptive, of course.
Yeah. So that's that one. And then, so with your terminology, then in terms of when we're talking about who's in the industry, we have manufacturers, suppliers. That's sort of used like interchangeably. Like Permobil is like a manufacturer. Yeah. But then sometimes we also call them supplier. But I work for independent living specialists, so we're also a supplier, and independence mobility.
We would call it a distributor.
Distributor.
Yeah. So we're a distributor for all the main manufacturers.
Yeah. Right. And there's distributors on distributor. Like we buy from.
Well, that's true. It all gets a bit confusing.
It does get.
But I think that the reason why I was raising it more, which has been really helpful to listen to, is more so, I think like you'd call it assisted.
Yeah, so we have ATPs, and that's a new term that we've been using, is Assistive Technology Professional. I think we've adapted that from the US Canadian model. Right. That's what they call. I think they actually have to be qualified ATP on there. And I recently am also qualified ATP now, because there's a resident certification that they have. It's not even relevant in Australia.
Special? Do you get a badge?
Yeah, we do. I do actually get a badge, and I get a little certificate, and I can actually put it on my title. It says you can put like, doctor. Now at the end of mine, not doctor, but
Dr. Love.
Dr. Love. It's got I know it's basically saying I'm certified to, and you got to do it every year to like.
All right, that's cool.
Registration. So that's like, so we have that. So there's ATPs.
So we would just like if we were saying assisted technology, we would maybe put that in more sensory equipment.
That makes sense.
So I think it was just so that if we're starting to chat about stuff, and when you're saying assisted, then you're probably more so talking about the wheelchairs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we call it AT. And you're right, AT does get referred to like eye gaze technology or speech, sensory. Yeah. That is also assistive technology.
And it makes perfect sense, because a wheelchair is still assisting.
Yeah.
It is a power chair, a manual chair, an in-home chair, static seating.
I guess it's true. If I'm speaking to you, or speaking to people within my industry, when we say AT, they know what you're referring to. Okay. Complex AT might be a bit more, okay, that must be the script form stuff. And that sort of alludes to more wheelchair stuff. But yeah, basically ATP is who we called. We used to be called wheelchair specialist, but I'm also an occupational therapist by background, and you're not actually allowed to call yourself a specialist in our certification unless you have done an extra degree or something to be called a specialist. You can't call yourself a specialist. Okay. So now we'd say like seating professional, or again, assistive technology professional.
So if I call myself a specialist, will I get into trouble?
You're allowed to, mate. You can call yourself whatever you want.
But if I'm promoting in Australia, then that ain't going to happen.
If you're an OT,
I'm going to be shot down.
Yeah, if you're OT or physio in Australia, if not, I don't really know if there's a legal thing. Cool. It's just around your registration, you can't call yourself a specialist.
No, that's cool. Okay, so I want to I've lost my tongue. I want to know a little bit more about you.
Sure.
All right, let's let everyone know. So, okay, we now know that you work for ILS.
Yes.
Okay, we now know that you're an OT by background.
Yes.
You're not a practicing OT.
No. So the way it works here is I'm registered OT, and I still got to maintain my registration every year. But what I actually, it's just more of a background degree. I don't actually need to be an OT to be what we do.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't practice as an OT. I don't write reports. I don't do any of that stuff. I'm happy just to spin spanners on tools and be really honed in on one area of practice. Maybe one day I will go and do the report thing, which I think it's still very translatable skills within the professions. But
I think you're doing a bit of a disservice because I know you. I've known you for long enough now that yes, you do the job in terms of prescriptive wheelchairs, doing a great job. But I think the knowledge and background and everything that you've kind of gained in terms of your studies and then practice is massively benefited you, and it's benefited a lot of others watching you as well, because you don't really approach it just as somebody who's going in and prescribing a wheelchair. You are everything that you talk about. You are looking at that clinical guidance behind it, right?
Yeah, and I think it's just the years of experience. Like it's not really the role of the ATP or what do you guys call them, the wheelchair rep?
Yeah,
Rep.
Let's go with that.
Let's go with rep. It's not really the role of the reps to sort of go into these details, but especially in Australia, it's very varied. There's not like we don't have the NHS. So in your system, you were telling me last night that there's OTs that would specifically work with wheelchairs.
That's
that's
right.
all they do. They have got their own demo equipment. They do their own script forms. That is not like that. This is not our model. I'm not saying one's better or worse, but the model we have is you have an OT that will see you for a variety of interventions. One might be wheelchair prescription. Now, some OTs do just focus on one area. I think that's great. I think everyone should niche down. The idea of having such a broad field and then having to do one area can be a bit tricky for some OTs. So for me, if I've been doing wheelchairs over and over for like a decade, it's sort of, you sort of have to step up and help these OTs in these areas to make sure you get a really good outcome. So that means making sure that we get really good information before we get out there on the trial. So, walking them through what that looks like, what to do during the trial, and then through the delivery as well.
Amazing. Let's find out a little bit more about you.
Yeah.
We can chat all the technical stuff, and we will do. I mean, we want to use this podcast to really sort of empower ourselves, but also pass on knowledge that we both gained.
Yes. And that's mostly what we're doing this podcast. So just in terms of like what we're thinking of this podcast, what do we say we want to do? We want to I think the main goals of this podcast is that we want to share some stories about what we do throughout the week. It's pretty memorable stories that help us learn about wheelchairs and seating.
Yeah.
Give some inside advice about what we're doing with our opinions on certain products or the way things are done. What else do we want to talk about on this podcast?
I think I want to talk about emotion quite a bit. I want to talk about understanding the client, not just, and I know we both really care about that, but we'll get into it, but I personally think that sometimes that's overlooked. I know it sounds ridiculous, but the person in the chair is the most important. But we can get bogged down in the technical side. We can get bogged down in how posturally they need to be looking the best and everything. But ultimately, if that person ain't happy, then we're kind of not fully achieved our goal. Yeah. And I'm not saying for a second anyone's overlooking that, but sometimes I feel it could just be not as prioritized as getting the right thing.
We should be sensitized to it. You're doing it day in, day out. So that's, I guess, the goal of most of the podcast. But if today's podcast is just about me.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about it. So I got some quick fire questions.
Hit me.
Right. It won't take long, but first thing that comes into your head, favorite food?
Thai food. I get to eat it with my beautiful wife who loves Thai food.
Favorite dish?
Favorite dish, burger and chips.
From Thai?
No, but just
the Thai.
In terms of what kind of food?
The Thai burger and chips.
Burger and chips. If I'm at a restaurant, I'm I just love a good burger and chips. It's not Thai. I'd like to go to a Thai restaurant.
I got it.
I would never get a burger.
I got it. Okay. We need to find out the name for burger and chips in Thai. Favorite singer?
I love belting a good Alicia Keys.
Really?
Yeah.
Sing in the shower to Alicia?
Oh,
I can imagine.
Yeah. Some people.
Yeah. Nice. Like it. Favorite manual wheelchair currently?
I love a good sub so light. The RGK sub is just a great chair.
Okay, great.
Has its problems, not perfect, but it's a great chair.
Okay, love it. Favorite film?
The Django Unchained.
Oh, good film. I went through a period where I watched that quite a few times. Now you've said it, I've got to watch it again.
It's one of the movies that and Inglourious Bastards
is
two movies that I can just watch. When someone says, "Oh, I've already seen it," I'll watch it again. Watch it again. Just feel good movie. Yeah.
Do you not remember when you were younger, you would watch things over and over?
Yeah. We don't do that adults.
You don't?
No.
But there's no reason why you didn't. Like Star Wars, I've watched a lot of Star Wars.
I never watched Star Wars. Or Lord of the Rings.
Seriously?
I know. I just dropped all the viewers.
You're not a sci-fi man?
I just never got into them. And if you don't get into them at the time, it's like, you can't watch Star Wars now.
You definitely could.
You reckon?
Yeah. No, honestly. And you'd love it with the capes and everything.
I am very theatrical.
Yeah, I know. I think you could be into it. Favorite power chair currently? Or actually, let's change that because that's unfair because there's lots on there. What was the last power chair you sold?
I would say the last one I did before I went on leave was a standing chair. So Permobil F5.
Oh, nice chair.
Beautiful looking chair. But I would say my favorite power chair would be, I'd probably pick a 360, Magic 360.
Love the chair. And it's quite new to us in the UK.
Is it?
In relative terms, like a couple of years now.
Yeah.
But the 360, well, actually, no, the 360 would be relatively new because the 360 came out when Sunrise really took over Magic, right?
I want to change my answer. I'll say 360 for a base, but for seating, any of the Permobils, like Corpus Permobil is the best. Like, be able to have memory functions, to be able to like tap your position and go into like whatever position you want. The seating system is so strong and durable and adjustable. So
we're going to get onto that.
I know. In terms of like the base, 360 is one of the better performing ones. Horses for courses. And one day, I'd love to, mate, if we had a YouTube channel, I'd love to actually put 360 versus M5 versus a Dietz versus a Glide Centric.
No, it's happening.
Yeah, we should definitely.
We're doing it.
That would be like, it'd be like the curb test or like the drop test.
Funny you say that. I'll upload some stuff.
Yeah. We've done it already.
Yeah. We've got that stuff.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
See the result.
No, we've got some really cool stuff coming out, but by all means, we should definitely compare all. Your weather's going to look so much better on camera. It really is.
Yeah.
So in closing on you, because, next one we've got to get me, but in closing on you, Justin, what you feel right now you'd like to change about yourself?
And this is actually one of the reasons I signed up to the podcast. I would actually learn to love to speak with a better pace where people can understand me. I don't know how I've done so far on this podcast.
I think you're doing really well.
I would love to get rid of the ums, get rid of the I'd love to present better.
You know what I find really funny is I asked Justin to think he'd come out with something really deep, something like he wants to change, but really it's just been about you.
Well, you remember I want to change about the world. Okay, I will get to the world later. In terms about myself, what I want to change about myself.
Yeah, I mean, like I probably meant that more in, maybe I should term that a little bit differently. What do you want to develop? What do you want to gain out of the next year working together? Like, you want to learn something a bit different? You want to learn something new? Where do you want to go?
Where do I want to go with this podcast? I still just want to get better at speaking. I do want to get that other podcast. No, but I just want to have a few more shared experiences. I'm actually really excited about getting people on the podcast and getting guest speakers and learning more about how people do things, how it's done differently, what products do they use and why. I would love to have debates because I'm very contrarian in terms of I would just debate anyone, even if I agree with you. So I would love if someone was the last post I did at the time of filming this was about molded seating versus modular seating. So molds versus modular. I would love to just have a very friendly debate as to why I think modular is better, but not in a sense of like.
But we're going to get there. Yeah. I also feel that that's no disrespect to a mold because actually, I think we need somebody to.
Yeah, but I want to hear I like the debate of I just want to hear what you have to say, and I'm like, but what about this? I'm happy to be proven wrong. So I've got no ego in a sense of being proven wrong with certain things, but I think people, especially on camera, would be shy to go up against each other.
Yeah,
and the fact of looking wrong. Or looking like you're trying to dominate someone.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to dominate anyone, or I'm not trying to be right in the situation. I'd legitimately want to have over a tea or a beer and be like, no, man, Quickie is blah, 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 and Quantum is blah, 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 and have those genuine chats.
Let's get them on. Let's get them on.
You as well. We get debate on. I hope that we disagree on things.
We definitely will.
Yeah.
We definitely will. The UK is better than Australia. I like that. The funny thing is, I'm not sure I agree with that. We'll find out.
I'll do it. And then I'm happy to say, I guess you're right. Well, horses for courses.
Yeah.
It's just a good way to.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Level it out.
So in closing, you've been working in the industry for how long?
Nearly a decade now.
Yeah, 10 years. Yeah.
It's a long time.
Yeah. You got
one small subsect of.
You got it. You were age 50 when you got into it?
Yeah. No, I was straight out of the bat. My first job was at another company working for Quantum actually,
right?
As a rep, and at that time it was hard to get a job as an OT, and I was just like, "Yep, someone offered me a job." Didn't care about wheelchairs. I like technology and I like using tools, and it sounded cool. The company, they really sold it. I was going to be flown around Australia for learning, and it was everything they said it was, and I learned so much, and it was really great. But I wanted to be more with end users, so that's when I moved to ILS.
Yeah,
and then that's when I get to actually work with clients and work with a variety of products and. Yeah, and that journey's just been fantastic. I've had great people support me while I've been there. I've had great mentors, great access to a big range. Haven't been limited by, we don't have access to that.
Yeah.
We actually go through the opposite. We're trying to reduce the amount of range we have. That's actually probably the more frustrating part. Is I want to work with more, but we're like, too many brands. You know what it's like being a business.
For sure.
You can't do every single brand well.
No, and you exactly right. And there's always, I think the amazing thing that we have is option. So, it's not saying that one thing's better than another. It's what's right for that individual or that person at that moment. And that's what's great.
Yeah.
And it's, if they go with you, they go with me, they go with someone else. As long as that client gets the right product, then everyone's a winner, really, isn't it?
Exactly.
So in closing, it's been an absolute pleasure bringing you on and me being on number one. But I look forward to many more podcasts.
Yes.
Please, for the listeners coming in or the watchers, please do tune in for the next episode. We look forward to seeing you on
We'll chat.
Time.
They say us together on
We'll chat.
We'll chat on We'll Chat.
I like
Should make that the slogan.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys.